Tervetuloa seuraamaan John Derf Backderfin haastattelua. Amerikkalainen Backderf tunnetaan erityisesti omaa elämäänsä enemmän tai vähemmän sivuavista sarjakuvaromaaneista. Vuonna 1991 paljastui, että yksi Backderfin yläkoulun ja lukion aikaista luokkakavereista olikin Amerikan pahimpia sarjamurhaajia. Jeffrey Dahmer oli tappanut kaikkiaan 17 miestä ja poikaa. Tapaus järkytti koko Amerikkaa ja tietysti myös Derfiä, joka tiesi Dahmerin olleen ongelmatapaus jo kouluaikana. Dahmer ei tuolloin ollut mitenkään väkivaltaisena tunnettu, vaan koulukiusattu, syrjäytynyt ja pahoin alkoholisoitunut hylkkiö. Kun Dahmer sitten tapettiin vankilassa vuonna 1994, Backderf alkoi purkaa omia muistojaan sarjakuvaksi. My Friend Dahmer ilmestyi sitten lopullisessa vuonossaan 2012. Omien muistojensa, haastattelujen, uutisjuttujen ja poliisiraporttien kautta Backderf on luonut hyvin syvältä kouraisevan kuvan koulumaailman armottomuudesta ja syrjäytymisestä, joka tuottaa sitten tuhoisia tuloksia. Backderfin ehkä henkilökohtaisin teos Trashhead 2015. Se on kuvaus tekijänsä vuodesta roskakuskina, mutta kasvaa sitten siinä ohella mietinnöksi koko amerikkalaisesta jätehuollosta ja kierrätysteollisuudesta. Seuraavassa teoksessaan Backderf muistelee, miten 4. toukokuuta vuonna 1970 Kent Staten yliopistolla kansalliskaartin sotilaat avasivat tulen aseettomia Vietnamin sotaa vastustaneita mielenosoittajia kohti. Ja Derf päätti sitten laatia selvityksen joukkomurhan syistä ja seurauksista. Haastattelun ja valtavan media-aineiston perkaamisen avulla syntyi sarjakuvateos Kent State, 4 kuollutta Ohiossa. Tämän kevään kuluessa sekä My Friend Dahmer että Kent State tulevat sitten ilmestymään suomeksi. Joten siirrytäänpä tästä nyt sitten herra Backderfin haastatteluun. Kiitoksia.
Okay, hey, welcome to Finland.
Yeah, wish. Thanks.
Someday, yeah.
Someday, yeah.
But at first, I'd like to ask you about like something about your former life. What do you think nowadays? Does the political cartooning in America still have a future?
No.
Okay.
There's only about maybe 25 left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I started out as a political cartoonist so many years ago, and there were probably close to 400 then. So there weren't a lot even then. I mean, it was a really difficult field.
Yes.
But now it's not even a profession. There's still a few people doing really great work, but a few of the ones that are left. But no, it's done.
Which ones do you follow?
I like Ann Telnies of the Washington Post. She does really, really good. She does a great Trump, and she does some animated work too, which is really cool. And Kevin Callagher, I don't know if you know him. He mainly works for The Economist in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
But he's an American, and just fabulous work.
Okay.
Who else? Jack Oman, who is very well known here. A couple others. Like I said, there aren't many.
Oh, right. And the newspapers are folding and stuff. And first, what they start, they cut out the comics and the cartoons.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And then the readers go too, and they can't figure out that the two things are linked.
Yes. It's sadly it's the same thing in Finland too.
Really?
Yes. There's one newspaper, evening newspaper that had Finnish comics, different comics every month, and they cut out them because of the costs.
Yeah. Stupid, but.
But anyway, on to your career. You started drawing before you were 10 years old. And when you started doing political cartoons, you were 10 years old.
Actually, I think I was a little younger than that. I
Okay.
think I found like a drawing I did of Richard Nixon when I was like
Wow.
9 years old. So yeah, I don't know what it was that interested me in that stuff, but yeah, I was pretty young.
Mm-hmm. And one of your first cartoons was about the Kent State incident.
Yeah, one of the oldest ones I still have. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it survived.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that was 1970. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you started doing cartoons for the school paper, and with Jeff Smith was also involved in that.
He was, yeah. That was at the university, Ohio State University, where I went to school.
Okay.
And they had a daily paper that came out. It came out Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Big paper, huge, and it was full of cartoons. And there were tons of us that started there. And it was great. They printed, I think they printed 35,000 copies a day.
Oh.
Because the university was huge. The university had like 55,000 students. So yeah, no, it was amazing. And Jeff was there my last year, so I did it for 3 years, and then he showed up the last year doing his comic strip, which eventually became Bone.
Uh-huh.
And I was still doing political cartoons. I don't even know why, but
Right.
it was fabulous. It was a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the first time you're getting a response from people, and
Yes.
people are reacting to your work, and that's a real buzz when that happens.
Mm-hmm. But then after that, you started doing something totally different. You did the city strip,
Yeah.
and your drawing style totally changed for that.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, have you seen that strip?
The city.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
You have?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because it didn't last. It ran in these. Actually, pulled some. Ran in these free weekly papers, they were called.
Yes.
And we had them. I don't know. They didn't really seem to have many of them in Europe.
Yeah. But
it was kind of an American Canadian thing.
Yes, but when it was in Village Voice or something,
Village
like that,
Voice.
Then there's
another one.
That's
the
editor
editor liked this one so much he ran it on the front. And this was probably the biggest one, the Chicago Reader. I mean, look at the size of that thing.
Whoa.
And the last section was just all comics. There's
right.
Life in Hell. That's Matt Groening's comic.
Yes.
It was great. I mean, I was in about 140, 145 of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real, it was revolutionary as far as comics went, because it just opened up the field.
And there was
all of these very experimental comics started to be published in these free papers. Not just me, but Chris Ware started there, Charles Burns, and Catcher, Matt Groening, on and on and on and on. There are all these people who went on to have pretty, big careers in comics, started with these free weeklies.
Yes.
And everybody else in comics, this would have been like 1988, 1987, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Comics was, the rest of comics was pretty boring. I mean, there was not a lot of experimental work out there. There was not a lot of, but the free weeklies changed all that. And then everything just started to really change in comics in North America.
Like continuation to the underground papers.
The weeklies? Yeah, a little bit. The underground papers of the 60s kind of all failed because, they were and not really running a business.
Yeah.
So these weekly papers, they started like in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And they were much more professionally run. And they're all dead now too. But, but there was great when it lasted. So all through like the 90s, maybe mid 80s to right up to about 2000, they were really a big deal here. They were part of the whole Gen X,
Yes.
experience, and the readership was huge, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yes. There was this collection paper, Comic Relief or something like that.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yes, that's what I saw.
Yeah, you've seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the weekly strips are the comic strips. They're kind of lost. I mean, they were never collected. They just, they were there for a few years and then they went away.
Yes.
So it's very difficult. I've collected some of my stuff. I mean, the French collected one of them. Yeah, they put out True Stories, which, oops, sorry.
Yes. Right.
Which sold very well in France. So I was happy to get that out, just to have, to have the artifact, to have it collected.
Yes, I see, yeah.
But otherwise, it's all gone. And the same thing with mini comics, which is also
yes,
I don't think that was very big well, maybe in Finland it was.
Yeah, there nowadays it is, because it's so easy to do little signs. But okay, they have been appearing and disappearing for 20, 30 years now.
Yeah.
But anyway, then you moved on to do longer stories. From for example, about you being the trash collector.
Oh, trashed, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun story. Yeah, that was just, they're just stories you carry around in your head, and finally you just say, well, I've got to make a comic out of it. That was actually, it came out, it had a couple incarnations. I don't think I have a copy of it there.
Yes.
It started out very small as just short stories, and then I made an entire book out of it.
Yes. And you changed your drawing style again for the longer stories.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I changed. Yeah, it's you look at my career and it's like there's 4 different artists there.
Ah, right.
I just keep. I don't know what it is. I guess I just wasn't happy with how I was drawing, or you draw in different ways. I mean, when you're drawing a political cartoon. You draw a certain way because that's what the cartoon requires.
Yes.
And when you do a comic strip, it's the same thing. And then when you do a longer book, well, then you got to have a lot more detail. You have to have, a nice narrative. You have to, things have to flow. So you have to change depending on what you're doing. At least I did. So,
okay.
And I mean, I'm happy with the way I'm drawing now. So I don't think I'll change again. But.
Yes. And then we are on to the first Dahmer stories. How was it at first? Which things you wanted to get into the story about your personal experience with Dahmer?
Well, at first I wasn't sure. Jeff was caught. I mean, he was the famous serial killer. Readers who don't know. And he was arrested in, 1993. And he was killed in prison about a year later. So about 95, I would say, maybe late 94, I started just drawing, just trying to figure out what to do with this stuff. I've been collecting stories. I've been making sketches. I knew I was going to do something, but I really wasn't sure what. And that took a long time to figure out.
Yes.
I did some short stories in the 90s. I pitched, I tried to sell a longer version, like a 100-page graphic novel, and no one wanted it. It took a long time. It wasn't until probably it came out, the book came out in 2012. So it took 18 years to put that book together.
Yes.
And sometimes that's just how long it takes.
Oh, yes.
Every book is different.
Yes.
And that was a difficult one because, I had some. very 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 troubling things to figure out.
Yeah, that's sure.
And
but anyway, meanwhile, while you were doing the Dahmer thing, you did something completely different. This punk rock and trailer parks book.
Rock and trailer parks, yeah.
Yes,
I wanted to do something. I pulled one. Yeah, there's a page.
Oh yes, Ramones.
Yeah, the Ramones. Yeah. I just wanted to do something fun, and I wasn't happy with how I was, doing. I don't even know if I have it. There it is. I wasn't happy how I was drawing books. My early Dahmer stuff, the early trash stuff. I just wasn't happy with it. So the way you learn is you do a book. You make one, and you figure it out. So that's what this book is.
Yeah.
I needed to do this book to get to My Friend Dahmer. And it turned out I had this great character and I had fun writing it. It was just a real pleasure to do this book, and it was very well received. So I thought, all right, I guess I'm on the right track here.
So it's been said that Akron was the Liverpool of punk rock then.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bands that came out of this horrible factory town that I grew up in.
Yes.
Devo and Chrissy Hind and just a lot of bands. The Cramps. I mean, a lot of bands came out of Akron. I don't know what it was. I guess we were just bored.
Yeah. Okay. And you created the character Otto to tie up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun because I had this theory, because my comic strip didn't really have these big characters. It was observational. I just wrote whatever I felt like it. Sometimes it was surreal. Sometimes it was just whatever.
Yes.
And it was difficult to write that way. And I had this thought in my head, if you come up with a really great character, and you just drop him into a scene, the scene will write itself, because the character will just decide what happens.
Yes.
So I wanted to see if that worked, and so I came up with Otto, and sure enough, that's exactly how it works. So that was a lot of fun to write that book.
Yes, I hope someday we will get that too in Finnish. But okay, well, we'll see. But okay, then the Dahmer book finally came out, and I think the name My Friend Dahmer is a bit ironic.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to get people's attention. That's what a title is for.
Oh yeah.
And when people see those words together,
right.
But he was. I mean, it's not like he. I mean, he was a friend. I mean, he wasn't a close friend. He was.
Yeah.
He was a friend. He didn't really have any close friends, honestly.
Yes.
So my friends and I were probably the closest thing he had to a friend.
Yes.
Which is sad. But that's the way he was. So it's a great title.
Yes, that's true. So what do you think? What did you think when it became so huge? They were talking about it in all the media and stuff.
Well, it was very gratifying, to have this big breakthrough so late in my career. That's like, it's a gift, and here I'd been working for all these years, and I mean, I was doing okay. I made a living, I had a following, but not like My Friend Dahmer. And then that came along, and it was just it was something else. It's amazing experience.
Yes.
Something good coming out of something very bad.
Yeah.
Which is, a nice thing when that happens.
So first they did a theatrical version of it.
Oh yeah, they did a play. So they did a play back in maybe 2005, 2006.
Yes.
Yeah, it was staged a couple plays. It it didn't. A couple of universities put it on at small theaters, but nothing big. It wasn't on Broadway or anything.
Okay. The Dahmer, the musical, or no?
Yeah, hey,
Yes.
that would be something, wouldn't it?
Maybe. Anyway, they did a quite good movie out of it. What did you think when they first approached you and asked this project?
Well, I'd been approached a couple times because, as I said, you know, the book came out, the project came out in pieces, and so bits of it were published earlier, enough that movie producers immediately said, "Oh, what's this?" And so I'd been approached like maybe 3 times already, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. Either I didn't like the sound of what they were proposing, or it just didn't work out. And this filmmaker called me out of the blue, and he had gotten a hold of an early copy of the book. You know, the finished book.
Yes.
Because they print advanced copies and pass them out to critics and things. And so he got one of those, and he talked me into it. I was happy with it. You know, he promised he would be true to the book, and he was. And I think it came out very well. The performances are quite good.
Yes, I think so too. I saw it in Finland in the Love and Anarchy Festival. It was very well.
Oh, really? It played in Finland? Oh,
yes,
that's awesome.
Once it was, yes. And so,
what you might not know, since you saw it, is it was filmed in my hometown. Those are the real places,
right? Okay.
Where the story happened. That's actually Jeff's boyhood home that they used in the film set.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it gets even weirder because the guy who owns that house is a friend of mine named Chris Butler. He was a punk rocker in Akron. He started a band called the Waitresses, which had a couple hits.
Okay.
And he was also at Kent State in 1970. He was one of the student protesters. He was a friend of Jeff Miller, so he's in that book too. So he's in 3 of the books that I've done.
Yes.
Important figure in my life.
Well, strange things happen. But all right, then after Dahmer, you went back to the trash business and did the trash hit, the final version.
Right.
And you said that in one interview that I watched that Spine Rodriguez was one of your influences.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he did the Trash Man, and you did
He did Trash Man. He did indeed. Yeah.
Yes.
I first saw Trash Man when I was like maybe 13, I think.
Okay.
And it was so I would have been a young teenager, you know, in school. And there weren't a lot of interesting comics at that time. It was all Marvel, DC, superhero stuff. There just wasn't a lot happening in the 70s. And so something like Spain really stood out.
Yes.
Spain, Richard Corbin, he's another.
Right.
Those 2 guys in particular were very influential. The way they tell stories.
Yeah. Okay.
And the way they draw, the way the lighting is, and all that stuff. I'm very influential on me.
Yes, the three-dimensional style of Corbin and stuff. How do you use? How much do you use photographers or models when you draw?
I sometimes, well, for example, with where's my stuff? Oh, here it is. With Kent State. You know, I mean, I do get
nice guys.
You know, I do get artifacts, so you can use them. There's a bayonet. So because these are hard to draw, you know, to get that angle right. So I use things like that. Yeah. I use photo reference. I don't trace the photos, but I'll use them as, you know, to draw. And I rely on it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Live drawing, I'll go to the scene and you know, sketch.
Yes.
Whatever you have to do to get it right.
Yes. There's lots and lots of material and books and stuff about the Kent State shootings. So how did you thought and found a way to tell the story in your way? How long?
Well, there have been a lot, and but not in a while. Most of the books, there's probably 40 books about Kent State, but they were done in 1971 or 72, back in that era.
Yes.
So there hasn't been anything done in a while. There really hasn't been anything done in a visual medium. So that's unique.
Yes.
I understand someone's working on a film. Jay Roach, I think, is working on a film. But haha, I beat him to the
yes.
I beat him to the scene.
Yes.
And the other thing I decided was, it's about these 4 kids who were killed in the middle of the protest. And so what I decided to do was to make it their story.
Yes.
And we see everything through their eyes and their experiences during these 4 days of protest up until the tragedy.
Yes.
So the reader is right on the ground with them. And it's like this, very personal, very intimate story about this horrible event.
Yes.
And I thought that would be unique because that hadn't been done.
Yes.
So that's really those are the decisions you have to make.
Okay. And then creating the timeline, the style and everything in year 1970 from your own memory and all the other stuff, or what did you get?
Well, no, it's not my own memory because I was only 10 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, that was tricky because, I was an outsider. I mean, I was not a part of it. And the other books I've done, I was a part of the story. So this was a bit of a departure for me, which is, healthy to do as a creator.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, I had to talk to people who were there. I had to do tons of research, not just journalistic research, but research into the culture and the fashions and the way people talked. I mean, it was very complicated. I spent about 2 years doing just research before I even started to draw.
Okay.
And then another 2 years drawing while continuing to do research. So yeah, it was a very, very big project, very complicated.
Yes.
Challenge, but it was, I think I pulled it off.
I think
I hope I did.
it resonates very well with the nowadays life and things like the Black Lives Matter and stuff. It's
sure, yeah, or the Gilets jaunes in France. Yeah, no, we're in another era of protest and police crackdowns, or what's happening in Russia right now.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's depressing because it's like we've circled back around completely.
Yes.
To 1970, which is one of the worst years we've ever had. And particularly in the Western world, but really everywhere.
Yes.
It was a year of revolution and conflict and depression, and it was horrible. And now here we are right back again. And apparently we've learned nothing, so, I think Kent State was pretty relevant. Yeah. And that was my hope.
Yeah.
When I started working on it, I had no idea it would become this relevant, as the whole nightmare was unfolding here in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's chilling.
And then when the book came out and the 50-year anniversary came, and then came also the pandemic.
Yeah,
the pandemic which changed everything on your schedule.
It did, yeah. It kind of ruined everything. But I had a very long book tour planned. I would possibly have come to Finland, but all of that went right down the toilet. So that's just the way it is. It's very difficult to try to promote and sell a book in this year,
Yes.
for 2020 rather, and 2021 as well. But that's, that's the way it is. I mean, what can you do?
Nothing. But anyway, the book has gotten a lot of attention again, and international acclaim and domestic acclaim too, many nominations and stuff. Were you surprised about that?
Well, I'm always surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when I was working on it, I mean, you have a sense as an author. I thought it was pretty good.
Yes.
And the people I showed it to, the few people I showed it to, they said it was a good piece of work. So I was confident that it would be well received, but you never know. I mean, that's the fun of being an author. You make this artifact, and then you just kind of toss it out the window and see how it lands. And I've been lucky. I mean, all my books have been very well received. So I haven't done a real dog yet. So knock on wood, I won't.
We can, and you can always trust the French at least. Seems that they are very fond of your comics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's amazing. The French are. That's France is comics heaven. I mean, it's just so amazing there, and it's really very gratifying to be successful there, because I've always been a fan of French comics since I was a teenager. Moebius and
heavy
Tardy and Droulet and all the rest of them. Metal Hurlant.
Still, they sold in 53 million comics in France last year.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? Yeah,
and 2/3 of the readers are under 30 years old. So
well, they're mostly reading manga, but
but
maybe a few of them will read some of my books too.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's fabulous. And comics are, they're growing everywhere. I mean, it's a great time to be in comics. I mean, you guys in Finland have an incredible comic scene. The comics that come out of there are just they're just bonkers, and they're very unique.
Yes.
So and Sweden and the Dutch don't seem to read a lot of comics, but they have a lot of really great authors.
Yes.
And just everywhere, all over. The Italians. I mean, it's a wonderful time to be reading comics.
Yes. We are not so into superheroes here.
Well, superheroes are fading here too. I mean, in terms of comics.
Yes.
The big growth in North America, U.S. and Canada, is in graphic novels and in kids' books.
Yes.
Children's books.
Yeah.
It's just huge growth. Superheroes have been flatlining for years and years. But the reason people keep talking about them is because Marvel is owned by Disney.
Yes.
And DC is owned by AT&T, and these are the two of the biggest corporations in the world, and they spend $100 million every year to make sure that everybody keeps talking about their crappy comics.
Yeah.
And they don't even care about the comics. All they care about is the films.
Yes.
So,
and TV series and stuff.
Right. I find superheroes to be irrelevant right now. When we talk about comics, they're completely irrelevant.
Yes. So, okay. What are you working on now?
Well, right now, it's been hard to work this year. Right now, I'm just doing some reading. I've got about 4 or 5 concepts that I'm trying to decide which one I want to do, or maybe more than one. And I'll spend a couple months just figuring this out and just sketching and reading and making notes. And one of them will jump to jump forward, and that's the one I'll go with. But I'm not at the point where I've really decided what I'm going to do.
Okay, but do you think it's going to be a longer story or short ones?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's not going to be another 300-page book, I'll tell you that. Kent State almost killed me. It may be a shorter one. It may be a comedy. I like to mix it up. And Kent State was a very emotional book to finish. It's very tragic, and when you get that close to people, you know, it's hard.
Yeah.
But so I may go back to another comedy. We'll see.
Yes, it's like the Dahmer book and Kent State. When you read them, at least I did a feeling how I was involved in the story and saw it's all what is happening, and you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, there is with both. There's kind of a sense of helplessness.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. They're just like heading toward the cliff.
Yeah.
And there's nothing anyone can do apparently. And yeah, they're both like that. You're right.
Brakes are not working and stuff. But okay, what is your typical working week nowadays?
Nowadays, yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you know, I normally work. It's different with books because you know, they take so long to do. When I was doing the comic strip, I had a weekly output. I mean, every week I did a new strip every week. So I usually did 2 or 3 a week.
Yes. So
I was constantly working, and now you have this 300-page book that's, you know, you have to finish 3 years down the road. So it's a different process. I tend to work in very intense, you know, periods. Like I'll do 3 months where I'm working, and then you know, I'll take a couple months off and not do anything. So it's a different process. But I try to get, you know, when I'm writing, I try to. Like yesterday, I probably spent 5-6 hours reading and making notes. So that's a pretty good work day. Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I'm drawing, that's different. Drawing, you know, 8-10 hours a day.
Okay.
If I'm drawing a book, especially if it's a book that has a really tight deadline like Kent State did. That was a very difficult book.
Okay. Yes.
My Friend Dahmer, I kind of took my time, obviously.
Yes.
18 years. I took my time with that. And punk rock too. But Trashed and My Friend and Kent State, I turned around very quickly. So yeah, that was I had to work very hard to do those 2 books.
Yes. So you like they do second takes if the page doesn't work, then you do it again.
I do. Yeah, I'll redo it. Yeah, sure. I mean, you don't want to have something that's just total crap. At a certain point, you have to stop. I mean, that's what a deadline is for. A deadline just kind of says no more. And you say, okay, this is it. And you have to accept that. But yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah.
Okay.
You wouldn't know it looking at my work, but I am a bit of a perfectionist.
Oh well, I know Ville Rantais, which you were in Angoulême with. He's also sending to the pages all over again if it doesn't seem.
Oh, does he? Yeah, Ville has that great sketchy.
Yes.
I mean, he can draw a whole page in like half an hour.
Yeah.
But
he also throws 6 versions in the trash.
I bet he does. Yes. He's one of those guys that's constantly sketching. I really admire people that work like that because I can't do that. I'm like you know, a medieval monk bent over a parchment working on one letter for a year and a half.
Okay.
I wish I could have that wonderful sketchy style. There are several friends of mine who draw that way, and I'm very jealous.
Yes. Okay, I think we have been through your career and stuff, and really hoping to see you in Finland, not this year, but next or the next year, 20.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are very welcome, and thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.